that. So I just wadded it up, and on my way out, I threw it in the trash bin next to her desk. And about the time I got to the door, she said, "Mr. Smith," she said, "come back here, please." I said, "Yes, Miss Leach." She said, "Pull that paper out of the trash can." She said, "Straighten it back out, set it on your desk. That is not for you to throw away. That's for you to take home to your mother." I said, "Yes, ma'am." So I did that. She said, "If you do that again, you will be in trouble." I said, "Yes, ma'am." The next day, you would think I'd be a little smarter. But the next day, with all intents and purposes, I was not trying to be disrespectful. I was not trying to be disobedient. It was genuinely just out of habit. She passed out papers once again, was getting ready to go to recess. I walked out there up, threw it in the trash bin, and I was just about out the door. "Mr. Smith!" "Yes, ma'am." And when I turned around, it dawned on me what I did. I could apologize 1,000 times, but
Didn't work.
no, she was going to be consistent. And back then, she didn't march me to the elementary principal's office. She had a paddle in her desk.
Yeah.
She said, "Bend over, grab a hold of my desk." There was still a few kids lingering there on their way out, and they stopped for the show. They wasn't worried about recess anymore. They said, "We're having recess right now. Where's the popcorn and the Cokes?" So I bent over, grabbed that desk, and she gave me one good pop. She said, "Now let this be a reminder. That's not where your paper goes." "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I'm going to be sending a note home to your mama that you got a swat to death." I thought, "Oh, Lord." And I knew it. I went in like old Belshazzar. My knees were knocking, and I handed that note to Mama. And then Mama, she said, "Bend over." And she didn't just do one. Amen. She reminded me, you get in trouble there, you're going to get in worse trouble here. And I tell you all that because she was teaching me. She said, "You're a representative of this house."
Yeah.
And she said, not in these words, but I've come to learn, little spoiled rotten brats and jerks and disobedient boys don't go out of this house. When you go out of here, you listen. It's yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir, and no, sir. You mind your manners. You do what you're supposed to. I don't care if they all jumped off the cliff. You ain't jumping off the cliff too. You all heard that, right?
Yeah.
She was teaching me the importance of what it was to represent her commands, her values, her teaching.
Yes.
We have taken the name of Christ and have traipsed it through the mud and the muck. We have said and done and acted in ways that are despicable. And then we'll turn around. Oh, by the way, won't you come be with me in church Sunday? People looking, probably thinking, there's no way I'm going to church with you. Ain't no way I'm going to be like that. We love God and we do this. And then, there's all these things that are going on and swirling around us. Be careful. We've got to protect the crown.
Yeah.
He said, don't let anybody take it from you. We lose it when we become careless. When we think it's always going to be there, not only when we believe the lie that we're insignificant, we must remember that we are representatives. But again, hear me, we will lose it when we become careless. When we just meander through life and we think it will always be. I don't say this about myself, but I say this to make the point. There was a lady who was in our church in Illinois who reached out to us through email. She was talking about some events that were going on in her life, and there was some bad situations, and asking us to pray for her. And she made the statement, she said, I realized I had made a mistake in my life. She says, number one, she said, Pastor, I thought you would always be there. I just took for granted I would just always show up in church and you'd always be there, that I'd always hear truth. That I'd always have some instruction, that I'd always be able to feel the presence of God. And she said, today I can tell you that I can't. I struggle. I don't even find myself in God's house anymore. She said, I wrestle with so much. And she said, now there's so many things that are a part of my life. But in so many words, she was saying, I got careless. I got careless. I didn't care. It was of no concern to me anymore. How many times have I watched parents that when their kids were teenagers and babies, they didn't care about the things of God. And then their teenagers grow up and they're doing terrible things with their lives. And mom and dad then they want to get in church and then they want to serve God. I'm glad they are. But then they're saying, pray for my kids so they'll get saved. And my thought is, where was you when those kids were little?
Yes.
Why weren't you doing what you were supposed to do back then? Because there's some damage that happens that cannot be undone. You've got to protect the crowd. You can't be careless, and it's not just for you. Alexis, come here, baby. I'm not going to embarrass you. She's thinking, you already did. You already did. Look at this beautiful young lady. Sweet girl. I believe she loves the Lord. What is invisible to everybody else? Every day she gets up, she gets her hair together, brushes her teeth, and gets all of everything together. There is a crown that sits. And every day, the decisions that she makes, the people she runs with, the things that she does, the things that she says, it affects this crown. Now, she has that, but here's something else. How old are you again, Alexa? 15. We'll call you 15 for the sake of conversation. 15. And at 15 years old, she is still under the authority of these folks right here. And so as she is wearing her crown and she's old enough to know better and to do the right things, I can also tell you this, is that this mama and her daddy, what they do is also going to affect the crown. It's going to make a bearing. It's going to decide what happens. There's still a lot of things. What we've got to understand is how we protect our crown. It's not just for us, but it's for those who are around us. Because, thank you, Alexa. Because what happens is this. Have you ever been around somebody that when you are around them, you want to stand a little straighter, talk a little better, conduct yourself a little bit more? Because maybe it's somebody you highly respect. Maybe it's somebody who carries themselves in such a way that because of the way they carry themselves, it makes other people around them want to pick themselves up and carry themselves a little bit better. And what happens is, church, is that we have fallen into the lie. We become so careless because we think, well, if we wear the crown and if we do what's right and if we live righteously, we're just going to be made fun of and people's going to ridicule us and they won't understand, and all those things can and will be true. But there are a lot of people who are going to look and they're going to be attracted to what is happening. How is it you can do that? What is that sense of peace? Why is